Welcome back to Let's Talk Tax. I'm Jerry Hammel, and today's episode is for anyone leading or trying to lead a modern CPA firm. We're talking about the things that keep you up at night, the people problems, the planning gaps, the trade-offs in growing a practice, and how effective leaders navigate them. Joining us today is a good friend of mine, Arty Brieden from Seidel Schroeder. Welcome, Arty.
Morning, Jerry. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm glad you could join us. Arty's built a firm that's known locally for strong client relationships, but what's most impressive is how he's managed growth while still investing in people. Arty, for those listeners who may not be familiar with you as I am, would you mind giving a quick intro into you, your experience, and your firm?
Yeah, thanks, Jerry, and thanks again for having me on this morning. Our firm, Seidel Schroeder, we're located in Central Texas. And we've got 11 partners. We'll be 13, two new admits we're excited about here January 1st of 2026. So we'll be 13 partners, about 120 total team members. And we're a 3-office firm located right in the heart of the Texas Triangle. So when you look at the map of Texas, you see Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. It kind of forms a triangle, and our firm and our offices are located right there in the middle. And we're a traditional accounting firm, full service, very tax heavy, tax planning and compliance, assurance practice, which includes audit, of course, and then advisory, which is primarily business valuation practice. So we've got a 55-year history of the firm. We're on the third wave of ownership of the firm, very proud of that. And great days still in front of us. So very excited of what the future holds for us.
Well, it sounds like you guys are really on a roll and doing things well. I mean, third-gen ownership is a really difficult thing to achieve. But I have to ask you, even with all that success, what are the things that keep you up at night, Arty?
Yeah, great question. So fortunately, we've got a great team. And so really don't worry too much per se. Now you're constantly thinking, and so as you know, being in this profession, it's the unsolvable puzzle, so to speak. We realize, or I've come to grips with the fact that this puzzle just simply will never be solved. But for me, it's just continuous improvements, and kind of the way I break that down is there are known unknowns, and then there are unknown unknowns. And so the worry or the things that keep you up at night is always, what are those unknown unknowns? And if I can start to get some shape or definition around those and at least get that into the known unknown bucket or quadrant, now we can make a plan or chart a course to start solving those or mitigate whatever risk may be out there.
Yeah, it's those surprises you're trying to avoid or mitigate, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Well, I think that's, look, I've interacted with a lot of your people over the last few years, and I can see why you have a lot of comfort, and I can see how you've been successful with 3-generation transition. So in your looking back as managing partner, can you point to one thing where one time period or so where you began to have more confidence in those leaders, because that's what helps you keep sleeping at night?
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you this, Jerry. I mean, this started really from the firm standpoint about 15 to 20 years ago, and it really goes back to our legacy partner group. And those guys were incredible from the standpoint that they, at one of their partner retreats, they looked around the table and they realized that they were all around the same age. And if they wanted to continue the firm, that they needed to have a plan, a structured plan in place to be able to do that internally. And so they came up with a concept called the bench. And we still utilize this program and this process today, but very simply what the bench is, it's a formalized partner and training program. And once you're placed on the bench, you start attending regular partner meetings. You start seeing firm financial statements. And through that, it really starts to remove the blindfold, so to speak. What's always interesting is I hear or see other firms that, and I think for all of us, we know as a partner in the firm, this ends up being our most significant item on our personal balance sheet, by far
Oh,
our
yeah.
most significant investment. And so, in a lot of ways, sometimes there's a complete cloud or mystery or blindfold on what it is or how it looks. And so, really, part of this bench program or this bench process is just simply trying to remove as much mystery as we can in and around that. The other thing that we've realized through this process is it's important for those bench members to have a seat at the table and just see how it is that we go about doing the firm's business, how we deliberate, how we debate, how we disagree, how we decide, yet come together and walk out the room all united. Even if I'm on the other end of what was decided, it's as if the decision was my own or our own. And so that was something that the Legacy Group instilled or installed with us 15 to 20 years ago, and we continue that same process in that program today.
Well, you hit on a couple key points that I think are, they sound simple, but I tell you that they are, when you don't follow them, they're so magnified. And the first one I will say is, you know, what I had a partner I learned under, and he always said, look, we're in the partner meeting, silence is acceptance. So if you don't speak up, then don't talk about it outside of the meeting. And I think it's so important when you talk about effective leadership is that, look, cuss, debate, disagree, all you want within that room, right? Behind the closed door. But when you leave that room, the leadership has to be seen as a unified front.
Spot
And
on.
there can be nothing more detrimental to culture to having those leaders talk contrarily about things or matters or the direction of the firm outside of that meeting.
Cannot have the meeting after the meeting. And I like the phrase that you use, silence is acceptance. And we use something similar. And that's very simply whether you're partner of a firm or I would just say just generally as a leader in the firm, what we say is you lose your right to remain silent. As you become a leader in the firm, you've lost your right to remain silent.
I like the way you put that because you're encouraging people to speak up. And I think, it's interesting. I think you made a point that you don't always agree, and that's part of leadership. But I think people coming up in that manager role, that senior manager role, all they see from the partners and the leadership is that they're on the same page. So they instinctively think that, oh gosh, these guys get along, they don't ever disagree. And now what they understand is that concept of behind the closed door, right? And it is an open conversation.
Absolutely.
Look, it's not it's not negative. It's people look at accountability and those conversations as negative, but it's not. I mean, I think it's a healthy balance of owners who you said that's probably their largest asset on their personal balance sheet, and so they have a vested interest. And when you focus on clients and the firm, and you want to do what's right, you have those conversations. Yeah. It's interesting. So at McGuire Sponsor, we started our 2030 vision last summer. And, 2 summers ago, we started building it out. We rolled it out to the firm last April at our annual meeting and our firm-wide meeting. And what's interesting about that is your comment about people that are operationally very good at what they do. Could be tax, could be CAS, could be audit. In our case, it could be R&D or cost seg, and they've mastered that skill. But what we've discovered as we're trying to grow, and you need people to grow, and you need people to step up into leadership roles, is that the business side of what we do, you can't assume they know that, and because we talk about realization, right, or utilization, and they see that just in their practice or that microcosm, but But what they don't see is, gosh, this decision I just made, how does that impact the firm and profitability? And what I found is that, yeah, they're already technically good, so that, and they're going to continue. We all continue to grow that technical side, but people that become really good leaders are those that now like lean in and peel it back and open the hood and see what the business impact is.
It's absolutely fascinating to me, and I think our firms, we've talked about this a lot, but
Yeah.
we're very very similar, and I think we end up working on a lot of the same issues or challenges. But for us, we really try to break down the career, and those first 2 to 3 years, we've got a program called Aspiring CPAs, and very simply, we're trying to make sure that our junior folks are licensed in the profession that we operate in. And so that 2 to 3 year Aspiring CPA program is very much about that, getting you licensed in the profession. Mid-career, we've developed something within the last couple of years called Career Catalyst Program. CCP is what we refer to that internally. And so this is a fantastic program, and it really came about from our mid-career folks who ran into challenges like we all do. And it's really simply the challenge of the shift coming out of associate, senior associate into manager, supervisor. And how abnormal that is when you have to now start supervising people, which, by the way, have been or are still your peers. And so that
Yeah.
program is very much about that. And then we've got a late career program that we use a consultant to the CPA profession. It's called Emerging Leaders Academy. And that program is specifically what you just said. That is to get people ready and to understand the business of accounting. And so what's fascinating to me is we've got these absolutely incredible bachelor and master's degree programs where we learn all about the technical fine details of accounting, yet most people, when they graduate with those degrees, they have no idea how to run an accounting firm, what the business of accounting actually is. And so, to your point, that absolutely has to be part of the curriculum and the program.
Yeah, and I commend you on what was the middle? What was the middle one you talked
Career
about?
Catalyst program,
Career
CCP.
catalyst. Yeah, because over my career, which 35 years in the CPA business, what's been interesting to me is, you're in that year 1 through 3, you're rock stars, right? They may dominate their space. They may be super efficient. They turn things around. They have a great understanding of the technical areas, and they do that well. But not everybody that's really good at that is going to be good at managing people. And it's interesting because I think I always talk to people that are coming up in those years, and I said, in your first 3 years, it's pretty easy to know when you've had a good day, right? You got your checklist and you're checking things off. But then all of a sudden you shift into this and you become a manager. Well, now maybe it's not so charge hour focused, right? It's relationship, it's training, it's teaching, it's billing, it's collections, and so my question when I coach people in that phase of their career is, what do you feel good about when you go home? And I try to help them figure that out, because you should still feel good. It's just not going to be the same metric that you used when you were a 3-year staff person and leading the firm in charge hours or realization. And yeah, it's just different.
That's spot on.
Yeah, and I see people struggle with that. It seems like it would be easy, but it is not easy necessarily. Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you what the biggest challenges are in developing the next gen, but it sounds like you all have this 3-step program and then inviting them in on the bench. Sounds like you guys have addressed this pretty well. How long ago did you start those?
Yeah, like I said, the bench, our legacy partner group had the wisdom and the foresight, and that's been around for 15, close to 20 years. Emerging Leaders Academy, again, the legacy group, they understood their own challenges and evolution and progress from their own career journeys and what it took to actually learn how to make money in the profession. And so they were wise enough to seek out, specifically intentionally seek out a program, and we landed on a fantastic program, that Emerging Leaders Academy, that Sam Allred and Upstream Academy, and that's just been a wonderful thing for our firm, and really all of our leadership has gone through that. And so what we find is there's a vernacular, and so that's the other benefit, is we're all speaking the same language. There's a common language on how we look at things and how that we do things, and everybody understands that that vernacular. Career Catalyst program and aspiring CPAs, those have been around really within the last 5 years, and so there's been a lot of talk about the pipeline shortage, the talent shortage, and the challenges within that. We know that COVID-19 and the challenges through 2020 and 2020 on really amplified those shortages, and we absolutely felt the sting of that. And so for us, this was really a more long-term answer to making sure that we were able to hire the right people, get them trained up, and then successfully retain them. And so those have been more recent initiatives, but we're thrilled with the results so far.
Yeah. So it's funny. We don't necessarily have at McGuire Sponsor those initial stages you talked about. We kind of leave them up to our service lines to manage and train people. But we do have a building leaders program, which sounds like it's your emerging leaders, and that's where we focus a lot on the business side of what we do, and kind of bringing all the pieces together. And it's really rewarding to see the light bulb go on. And they kind of get it. Oh, wow, that's what happens.
Absolutely. And I would say from a leader, there's not much more enjoyment that you have when you do see that light bulb go on, like you said, and seeing people progress in their career. That ends up being just a lot of fun.
Well, it's fun, and it also gives you a lot of confidence as the managing partner to maybe figure out, okay, where can we expand services? What else can we do, right? Because now you've got a group of people that have come up and they got this. I mean, they can handle it. Yeah. It's a very comforting feeling. Well, hey, one thing, I'm going to pivot a little bit. I've gotten to interact a lot with you all in your firm over the last 3 years, and it's just been an absolute pleasure. And I can tell you that what I'm impressed about is the culture you guys have. And what I would tell you is you have a lot of what you see is what you get individuals. Everybody's got an ego, but what I would tell you is that all the people I interact with there, it's kind of client first, firm first, and they really have a confidence in that if they focus on those two things, that I'm going to be taken care of. You can just tell they're comfortable with that. I know you keep going back to the legacy partners, but I know y'all had to have some hand in that. What's the secret sauce to your culture?
Yeah, well, appreciate those words, and that's quite a compliment. I mean, we're extremely proud of our team, and frankly, just feel lucky that we've got the slate of individuals that really make a decision every day to be in the boat, number one, and secondly, make a decision to row in the direction that we're rowing. And so we're very, very lucky from that standpoint. But I think you're right. I keep going back to the legacy group, but I mean, that foundation is so solid. And one of the things that we really did, Jerry, was it was 2021, and I remember this, and we went to Sedona, Arizona for our partner retreat. And that retreat was very consequential because it was the last of the legacy partner group that was retiring. It was his last retreat. And
Yeah.
so literally the focal point of that retreat was there is this secret sauce, so to speak. We've got to capture the recipe. And that retreat, we spent several days capturing core values, the
Hmm.
ingredients, so to speak, and really just boiling down the mission and the purpose. And so
Yeah.
what we walked out of was just a very clear direction on our purpose as a firm is simply to serve and elevate. When we serve our team, we elevate our team. When we serve our clients, we elevate our clients. When we serve our communities, we elevate our communities. And so I think that that's probably some of what you're feeling when you've got the interaction with our team. The other thing that I would say is there's just a spirit of intellectual curiosity.
Mhm.
We've kind of got the mantra of learn and share. It's not a know-it-all
Right.
concept. It's a learn-it-all concept. And so, if of course every day there's something that we encounter where we say, "I don't know, but I'll find
Mhm.
out." And so, really, the onus is on if and when we encounter those things. I've spent the time to learn, and I want to share it. And so we meet as a full firm bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. We meet, and that's just a fantastic opportunity for any of those things that have occurred within that bi-weekly period to be able to share what has been learned. And so that's really the spirit that's coming through.
Yeah. And Artie, one thing I would say is that, and I've been this way through my whole career, but I've noticed your people are very comfortable. It's funny you say that I don't know. And I've always been that way because if I don't know, I'm not going to pretend that I do know the answer. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I do think the culture that puts pressure on individuals to maybe be smart or know all the answers, that's one that's doomed to fail, in my opinion.
I agree. And the other one, I mean, on top of that, just normalizing I don't know. We refer to this as the school of hard knocks. And it's really just simply normalizing the fact that mistakes do occur. And so, from our standpoint, you've already written the check, so to speak, for the pain. You
Right.
might as well learn. You might as well learn from it. And
Yeah.
so, what we try to do, and I try to lead from the front on this, is I explain to our team, look, I've got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree from the School of Hard Knocks, and frankly, I'm working on a PhD. And so, what were those things? What has occurred that didn't go exactly perfectly or didn't go quite right? What were those things? Why did it turn out that way? What was the fact pattern that led me to make this decision or lead in this way? And so that we can normalize it and frankly just learn from it. And
Yeah.
so that's the other thing that I think's really hopefully helped our firm is to just normalize imperfection, but that is also the beginning of progress.
Yeah. Well, I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I did want to touch on one thing. I love serve and elevate and how you took it to three different levels of the firm, clients, and the community. With clients, I mean, one of the things I always worked on in my career for younger folks was trying to teach them to become good business advisors. So I think some of the grounded things we talked about with your people helps lay the foundation for that. But how do you get your staff to serve clients well and go beyond just getting the tax return done?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to trying to help. I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to help people, and the lane we're in is just fantastic. We deal in the lower middle market with smaller businesses.
Hmm.
Generally, that's 3 to 50 million type businesses, gross revenue. And so what we found is those people have a great idea for a product. They've got a great idea for a service, and we want them absolutely to focus in those areas. What we don't want them to do is to have to worry about tax or accounting or anything like that. And so this is really our avenue to help. And so that's how we look at that and how we view it. So what we're trying to do is we're just simply trying to do our part to add value. The other thing that we're very fortunate with is this segment of people are just fantastic people. And so a lot of times our clients, specifically within this demographic, they just frankly end up becoming close friends. And so who doesn't want to help their friend? Of course.
Exactly.
I want to do everything that I can to help the people that I care about. And so that's probably something that comes through. And so I think to just boil that down, it's just that. How do we help? This is our avenue to help and bring value, and it's the same analogy as driving a vehicle. You drive by looking out the front windshield. You don't drive by looking out the back windshield. And so it's trying to take care of the compliance stuff, of course,
Sure.
to maintain compliance, but the value we find is the forward-looking items where we can really help those business owners.
Well, I can tell a lot of the values and the culture and that is there because over the last 2 to 3 years where I've been involved, your people are very open to getting us involved with clients, having conversations, and again in the interest of trying to get credits or deductions that they're entitled to, right, to help them improve their cash flow. And as we've talked, I mean, it may be a good opportunity or it may not, but just float it by us. Well, your people have embraced that. We get so many calls from your staff and managers and partners where we just talk through a client issue, and if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But through that exchange, we both learn a little bit more about your client. You learn a little bit more about what we do, and it's been just a fantastic partnership. It really
Absolutely.
has been.
I would agree, Jerry, and I think that's just important. It's understanding what you do and focus on those things, and then those areas that are beyond your capability or expertise, that you've got great partners that are out there that can be on the team, and the client wins. There's no question that
Sure.
the client wins when that happens.
That has to be the goal, and I know we spent a fair amount of time getting to know each other, and you rightfully so, and your people rightfully so. They want to know, how does McGuire Sponsor operate? How are they going to treat our clients, right?
Yeah.
And because the cultures have to mesh, and the approach has to mesh, otherwise it's not going to be a good partnership.
Absolutely.
So, well, man, I really thank you so much for joining us today. I enjoy our conversations. I wish we were doing this at the Republic. But we will do that in the future. We will not do it remotely.
We're going to rain
but-
check that. We'll definitely catch up on that one.
Oh, for sure. And well, the other thing I have to tell you, you being an A&M fan and me being an Indiana Hoosier fan, maybe our two teams will meet, and we are going to have to get together if that happens.
I agree. Let's commit to that.
Well, thank you again, and everyone, as you've heard, leading a successful firm, it's not about having all the answers. It's about being intentional with your people, which Arty has been with Seidel Schroeder, having your priorities in line, and doing the right planning and execution. So thanks again, Arty. Really appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Thank you for taking time to tune in today. You can subscribe to Let's Talk Tax podcast on YouTube and follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. In addition, today's show notes and links to more about the episode can be found online at McGuireSponsor.com. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.